All right, class, today we are going to go through how to graph a system of equations. Remember, a system of linear equations is where you have more than one equation, where the meaning of the x's are the same in both problems, the meaning of the y's are the same in both problems. Why? Because, of course, you have to graph it on the same coordinate plane, okay? So in order to solve a system of equations means that you're going to figure out what points do they share. If they cross at one point, that means they touch each other at one point, then that one point is going to be the solution. If they never touch each other, which means the lines are parallel, they have no solution. If the lines happen to graph or to be right on top of each other, that's infinitely many solutions. And we talked about that or wrote notes on that in our digital interactive notebook. And I'm going to go back and show you those types of solutions. The types of solutions are there. That's page 34 in quarter 2 digital interactive notebook. And again, the different types of solution. One solution is if the lines cross at one point, that actual point is going to be the solution. No solution, if you graph the lines and they don't touch each other, that means they don't share any points. This is a no solution. An infinitely many solution is when you graph the lines and they're right on top of each other. That means that they share all of the same points. And since by definition, a line continues without end, that means they have an infinite number of points that they share. Any questions about the three different types of solutions that we could have for a system? Okay. All right, so now we're going to graph these equations. All right. Okay. This is how you graph an equation if you have forgotten how to do this, and you're going to do this in your independent practice today in Delta Math. The first thing that you do is you label your slope and your y-intercept. Remember, the equations have to be in slope-intercept form. That's y equals mx plus b. We talked about that before Christmas. Your m, or the number that's attached to x, is going to be your slope, okay? And your b, the number that has no variable attached to it, is the y-intercept. This is where the line is going to cross the y-axis. In this first equation, my slope, or the number that is attached to this x, is negative 5 over 3. So I'm going to write this as negative 5 over 3. Do not forget that the top number is your rise. That's how far you go up or down to get to the next point. And the bottom number of the fraction is going to be your run. Okay? And I'll pause real quickly. Are there any questions? My b, or my y-intercept, where the line crosses the y-axis, is the number that have no variable attached to it, which is 3. So my b here, or my y-intercept, is 3. Please make sure that you write these values down for this first equation. Okay? After you identify your m and your b, you're going to find your b, or your y-intercept, on the y-axis. This is the y-axis here. This is the y-axis. You're going to find positive 3 on the y-axis. That's up from the origin. 1, 2, 3. This is where you start. This is where that line is going to cross the y-axis at positive 3, because b is 3. Okay. Now you're going to put other points on the line by using your slope, your rise over your run. Your rise is negative 5. So from this point, you're going to go down 5, because the rise is a negative 5. That means go down 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Your run is a positive 3. So since it's a positive 3, you're going to go to the right 3. 1, 2, 3 to the right. This is where you put your point. And you repeat those steps. That means you go down 5 and to the right 3. 1, 2, 3, and I don't have enough space to go down 5. Okay, so I can't put any points going in this direction. And here, if I want points going in the opposite direction, then just do this backwards. Instead of going down 5, go up 5. Instead of going to the right 3, go to the left 3. And notice how we don't have enough space to go up 5 and to the left 3. So these are going to be the only 2 points that are on this line that we can see. Okay. Be sure that when you connect your points that you put arrows at the end, okay? Because technically this line goes on and on forever. Just because you run out of coordinate space doesn't mean that the line stops. The line is actually going on forever. Okay? And do you see how the line? So now we're going to graph the other point. The other line. So do the same thing. Our pencil fell apart. Give me a second. Okay. So the second equation, my slope is the number that's attached to the x, which is 1/3. Again, the top part of the fraction is going to be my rise. That's how far I go up or down. The bottom of the fraction for slope is going to be my run. That's how far I go to the left or to the right. My b in this equation is going to be the number that has no variable attached to it. So my b in the second equation is going to be a -3 because there's a minus sign in front of the 3. So this is going to be a -3. Okay. Now I'm going to find -3 on the y-axis because remember it's the y-intercept. So -3 on the y-axis is 3 down from the origin. This is where -3 is on the y-axis. This is my y-intercept. This is where I start. Now I'm going to use my slope to put other points on the line. My rise is a +1, so that means I go up 1. So I'm going to go up 1. Okay. My run is a +3, so that means I'm going to go to the right 3. So this is 1, 2, 3. And this is where my point is on the second line. I do it again. I go up 1 and over 1, 2, and I don't have enough space here. So let's suppose I want points in the opposite direction. So go back to where I start. Instead of going up 1, go down 1. Instead of going to the to the right 3, go to the left. 1, 2, 3. And that's how I put points in the opposite direction. Go down 1, and I don't have enough space to go over to the left 3. So all I have is these 3 dots or points. Okay, so the solution to this system of equations is going to be the one point that they share. So this is going to be my solution here. Okay, so my solution is going to be this ordered pair is 1, 2, 3, and -1, 2. So it's +3 and -2. This is my solution. This is the one point that both of the lines share. So that is the solution. And I'm going to pause here. All right, good folks, let's look at the next one. Number 2, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to graph both of these equations on this graph, on this coordinate plane, to see where they cross or if they cross at all. All right, so the first thing that we do is we label what our m and our b is, our slope and our y-intercept. Our m is always going to be the number that's attached to the x. So our m is going to be 4. Notice how 4 is a whole number, but in order to get a rise over a run, you need to make 4 into a fraction. So all you do to make it as a fraction is you put a 1 under it. So now you have the top number is still your rise and the bottom number as your run. And I'll pause real quickly. Okay. All right. Our b is going to be the number that has no variable attached to it. So this is going to be our b. Our b is going to be a +3 because it's a plus sign in front of the 3. So now in order to graph this equation, I'm going to find b on the y-axis because it's our y-intercept. So +3 on the y-axis is up 3 from the origin. Let me make this x-axis darker so you can see it. So we go up 1, 2, 3. This is 3 on the y-axis. This is my y-intercept. This is where I start. Now I'm going to take my slope to put other points on the line. Since my top number is a positive 4, I'm going to go up 4. So that's 1, 2, and notice how I'm already out of space. So I can't go in this direction. So I need to make points in the opposite direction. So instead of going up 4 because I don't have enough space, I have to go down 1, 2, 3, 4. Instead of going to the right one, which is what I would do if I was going up, or I go to the left one because I'm doing points in the opposite direction. So go to the left one, and this is where I put my point. Okay, I repeat those steps again. I'm putting points in the opposite direction. So instead of going up 4, go down 1, 2, 3, 4. Instead of going to the right one, go to the left one because I'm putting points in the opposite direction. So now I'm going to connect my points, draw my line. Please make sure you put arrows at the end of your line. Okay? And I'll pause again. Okay, good people, we're going to do the next line. Our M, the number that's in front of the X, you see how there's a negative? If you don't see a number automatically in front of any variable, it's going to be 1. So this is going to be a negative 1. To make this into a fraction, so you have rise over run, all you do, like we did with the 4, is put a 1 under it. So now we have rise over run. Okay? Our B is the number that has no variable attached to it. You see here a -2, so our B is going to be a -2 because this is a -2. It's a minus in front of it. So now to graph this line, we're going to find -2 on the y-axis. This is the y-axis up and down number line or vertical number line. So we go 2 from the origin, 1, 2. This is where we put our point. This is where we start. This is our y-intercept. And again, we use the slope to put other points on the line. Since the top number is a -1, you go down 1. So watch me go down 1 time. Since the bottom number is a +1, watch me go to the right 1 time. Put your point there. So we repeat those steps until we run out of space. Down 1 to the right 1. Put your point there. Down 1 to the right 1. Put your point there. Now if we want points in the opposite direction, go back to where we started, that y-intercept. And instead of going down 1, go up 1. So watch me physically move my pencil. Up 1. Instead of going to the right one, go to the left one. See how I move my pencil to the left one? And I keep doing this until I run out of space. So it's up 1, left 1. Put my point there. Up 1 into the left 1. Put my point there. Up 1, left 1. Put my point there. Up 1, left 1. And I put my point there. Okay? So now the solution is going to be the 1 point that they share. This is where they cross at. So my solution is going to be, start at the origin. I had to go over to the left 1 time. So it's -1 to get to that point. And down 1. So it's -1 and -1. This is my solution. That is the 1 point that they share. This is where they cross. That is the solution to that system. And I'll pause. All right, let's look at the ones on the bottom. Here again. I'm going to show you how to do number 4. I do want you to do number 3 on your own because number 3 is just like the ones we've done, but number 4 looks a little bit different. Okay? Number 4 is just y is equal to a number. So when you have y is equal to a number, you're going to draw a line through the y-axis at that number. So I'm going to draw a line through -1 on the y-axis. -1 is right here on the y-axis. So I'm going to draw a line through -1 on the y-axis. And this is how you graph y is equal to -1. If it was x is equal to -1, then I draw a -1 through the x-axis. Okay? If it was x is equal to a number. So if it's y equal to a number, draw a line through the y-axis. If it's x is equal to a number, draw a line through the x-axis. All right, so we've graphed this one. So now let's graph the second one. So you go back to labeling your m and your b. Your m is going to be a -5 over a +2. So your top number is going to be your rise, and your bottom number is going to be your run. Okay. Your b is going to be the number that has no variable attached to it, so that's going to be a +4. And if I'm moving too fast, just let me know I'm moving too fast, okay? Now I'm going to find 4 on the y-axis, okay? So 4 on the y-axis is 4 up from the origin. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's here. Okay, this is where I start. I'm going to use my slope to put other points on the line. My top number is a -5, so that means I go down 5. So watch my pencil. I go down 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then I go to the right because it's a positive. I go to the right 2. So I move over 1, 2 to the right. And this is where I put my point. I repeat those steps. I go down 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't have enough space to continue here. If I want points in the opposite direction, instead of going down 5, I go up 5. And I don't have enough space to go in this direction. So here, I'm just going to connect these 2 points. Okay. And make sure that I draw arrows at the end of my line. Because even though the coordinate plane has ran out of space, your line continues on forever, okay? By definition, it never ends. This line also never ends. That's why you need to put arrows at the end of these lines. Okay, so the solution here is going to be the point that they share. They cross right here. So the solution here is going to be, start at the origin, I go to the right, 1, 2. So it's going to be 2, comma, and I go down 1, so that's going to be -1. So my solution, the point that they share, is going to be 2 and -1. Any questions about that? Let's slide this over, y'all. This one I want you to do on your own. Let's go ahead and do that one now. Remember to label your M and your B. Okay. Your M is the number that is attached to X, -1 over 2. Your B is the number that has no variable attached to it. It's a -1, so your B is -1. And you label your M and your B here as well. For the second equation, don't forget to graph it. Find your B on the y-axis. B on the y-axis here is at -1. Okay. From here, I use the slope. Down 1 to the right 2. Down 1 to the right 2. Down 1, right 2. I'm out of space. So let's put space in the opposite direction. Go back to where I started. Instead of going down 1, go up 1. Instead of going to the right 2, go to the left 1, 2. Up 1, right 2. Okay. M here is 1 over 4. This is my rise. This is my run. B is -4. I start at -4 on the y-axis. -4 on the y-axis is here. I use my rise over my run. My rise is 1, so I go up 1. My run is 4, so I go to the right 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I repeat the step again, go up 1 to the right 4. I'm out of space. Okay? So if I want points in the opposite direction, go back to where I started. Instead of going up 1, go down 1. Instead of going to the right 4, go to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4 to put points in the opposite direction. And then you're going to connect your points. The solution is going to be the point that they share. So this point that they share is 1, 2, 3, 4. That's positive 4 is my x. And down 1, 2, 3. This is going to be my solution. Please make sure you go back and watch the video. If you need any help at all, please make sure you go back to the video. Now I need you to do your Delta Math assignment on independent practice. Only ones I want you to do today is just the problems where you are graphing systems of linear equations. Okay, have a good day.